Mary, you were the former senior advisor to the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. What's your view of Joe Biden at the G20 recently when he said that we want to see China succeed economically?
Well, I think the United States and other democracies, prominent democracies like yours around the world, suffer from what I would call strategic confusion in a couple of senses, as that quote illustrates. First of all, we don't really know what our role should be in the world anymore. There's a great debate that's erupted in the United States over that very question, and you've even seen it raised in the presidential debates more than a year before the election. That's remarkable. Usually our elections are about domestic economic issues. But secondly, there's confusion about just how threatening is this regime. We don't call Communist China an enemy yet. And so, again, I'll just go back to some of the conversations that I've been having with our clients in the private sector. They don't have clear lines here. It's still legal to do business over there. Of course, it's not legal to sell them missile parts, but it's legal to sell them Mars bars. And so you have boards and CEOs confronting essentially a transitional era where we know it's bad, but we're not quite willing to say it yet. And that leads our political leaders to very odd comments like, we want China's economy to succeed. Well, we want the Chinese people to succeed, but if that economy is being ruled and overseen by a totalitarian regime that wants to dominate us, which is what they say, then do we really think that a growing economy is a good thing for us and our safety and the security, not just of democracies, but of the world? Clearly not, but we're not there yet. And unfortunately, history teaches us that these transitional periods can be very dangerous.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is planning a trip to China this year to meet with Xi Jinping. What would be your message to him ahead of his trip?
Well, China has one of the largest nuclear arsenals in the world. And unlike other nuclear powers, we don't have any visibility into where those weapons are, the state of them, the speed at which they're building up their arsenals. We already know that they have the largest Navy in the world, the third largest Air Force, a million-man army, biological, chemical weapons programs. They're attacking our satellites every day. That's public information. They're attacking us in the cyber realm. They're cutting cables in the Pacific. We should always want to have the possibility of dialogue with a regime like that. The door should always be open. So I don't have any problem with leaders of the democracies of the world being open to talking to Xi Jinping. But they should also speak over the regime to the Chinese people, because the party and the people are two different things. And secondly, as I've just said, it really doesn't accrue to the benefit of anyone if we go to Beijing and simply ask them for things and pretend that they're behaving in a different way. They're not. You have to look at what they do. And we also should really extract consequences for what they say, too, because if you look at the military that they're building it for global domination. Head of our Air Force just said that in the last 2 days. When you look at how they've used it, they've become only more aggressive as they've built it over time. And then when you look at their rhetoric, to circle back to where I started, Xi Jinping is very clear that he sees the West as an enemy. So I think we should believe him. Let's be clear about the nature of this regime, about its intentions. Let's take the lessons of what happened with Russia and Ukraine and think to yourself, what would happen if everybody had to pull out tomorrow because China attacked Taiwan or, God forbid, did something even bigger? I think Xi Jinping's ambitions are much bigger than Taiwan. I think it's very clear from the military that he's building. And to me, that's a much more important thing to focus on than a one-off visit or TikTok or other things. We need to focus on the real threat that this country is posing, not just to your region, but to our way of life and to the world.